Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren, and I'm an admin of the. Oh, I forgot the quote. What's the quote? This week's quote, Liam?
Is there $25? Yeah. Is that the quote or another quote?
Yeah. What's our page?
Don't do that to me. We didn't discuss this beforehand.
Oh, we didn't.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The SEQFC page. Someone abused us and said that our page was vile and disgusting or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Something about, yeah. Oh, we've heard it all before, Darren, haven't we?
We have, but I like to throw in a new one every week. So keep the views coming. It gives us content, and we love content. So I'm Darren, that's Liam, who I've just spoken to. Our special guest tonight is the Eastern Suburbs NPL men's coach. He's doing rather well at the moment. His name is David Booth. Boothy, how you going?
Good, mate. How are you? How are you, Liam?
You're flying at the minute.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow start for us. Obviously, short pre-season, and then we weren't even training at East for the whole pre-season, and got back there. Probably had about 2 weeks worth of training, and not full training, and then the floods hit, and then we're offside again. So it was a bit of a stumble, but we always thought we'd probably be about 4 weeks into the season before we sort of started coming good. And unfortunately, we got to play Lions and Power nice and early, so that hurt us. And then we just started to find our way a bit now. So yeah, look, going all right. Yeah.
But they're out of the way now, aren't they? So
we'll have them back. We'll gladly have them back towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Now, firstly, tell us about the club. Well, how's the condition of it now?
Yeah, fantastic, mate. That's I'm sure plenty of people would have had trouble with the floods, but that club in particular, I think this is the third time it's happened in 10 years. I'm only new to the club, so I've got the history of it. But it had about 1.5 meters of water through the actual club itself and over the fields. Once it's subsided, there was. On the Friday, we had a heap of people get there, but the Saturday, I think it was something like 200 or 300 volunteers got in and helped clean it up. And, there's nothing you could do with the fields, but it was the clubhouse itself. And when you've got that many people, tramping around the place, you're just walking mud back through everything as well. So it was about 2 or 3 weeks to get the club back to where it was after the flood itself, but it looks sharp as now. They've painted it. The fields are good. Just a little trouble with the lights at the moment, tripping out. So you can get all 3 fields on, and all of a sudden they'll just go boom and they'll go out. But I think they're managing that at the moment. So hopefully they get that sorted this week. But looks fantastic. Fields are fantastic. Club's booming again. So nice to get some home games there as well.
Well, you've just set yourself up nicely for the rest of the season. If you go down a couple of goals, lights out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, how does that happen?
I have to replay that one. No, it looks good, mate. Everyone put in a big effort, and that club itself, the committee and the people that are involved in that club, it's been there 100 years. I'm lucky enough to be involved in this 100th year. Sorry, I got my dog jumping up on me here. I'm glad, lucky enough to be involved in the 100th year, and some amazing people there, and that's why it's survived and been such a strong club for such a long time.
Yeah, so how did Mr. Capalaba get on board with the Tigers?
I've always had a good relationship with Brownie, the president, and a couple of the committee members. And even, the night we got promoted at Capalaba, the president was down there. He was one of the first people at the top of the ramp to give me a big hug once we got promoted, and just he knew I was having a year off. The year off was good for me, but it actually didn't end up being a year because I ended up going in and jumping in with Rossi for a couple of months. And we've always had a good relationship. They knew there was a connection there as far as things didn't work out, and it was great with Rossi. Unfortunately I wasn't ready to come back. I still needed to have some more time off. So then once Rossi decided to move on, they've offered the position to me, which has been fantastic. And I suppose what I've learned over the past few years is to make sure that I get some good people in with me to make sure that you're not, when things get tough, you're not on your own. And that's what I've done this year. And we've managed to get a really good coaching staff together and a good playing group, and we're strong in depth, we're strong in coaching department, and we've got a strong club and committee. So hopefully we can start turning it on now and put the club where it should be.
Because you do take a lot on, don't you, mate?
I've been known to do that. Yeah, I have, but I'm not doing it this time. That was probably the biggest learning for me in the last year at Capalaba, that it's hard when you don't get so many volunteers. You actually do a lot yourself, and you don't realise you're doing it. And then when you're a head coach as well as, you know, there's no one there to actually help you with the coaching side of it, the logistics side of it, the planning side of it. And, you know, it just burns you out. And that's what happens, you know, especially with COVID hitting. And I think we had a period there where we played something like 7 games in 20 days. And at the end of that, we just got an absolute hammering from the club I'm coaching at the moment. So that was the end of me. Then I'd made a decision to have a year off the following year. But I've really enjoyed being back, and I've enjoyed it more having a couple of people around me, you know, especially Matt. I've worked with Matt at Capalaba, and I've got him back in, and we've got a coaching staff of about 6 people, which everyone shares the workload. And at the moment, the buzz around the club and the team and the playing staff, the playing group and the coaching staff is unreal. So really looking forward to what happens from here. And you can see it now reflecting in some of the games.
Yeah, so you had a 1-1 draw last night. Tell us about that. Against Olympic, who are top of the table.
Yeah, that's right. I've never gone to a Goodwin Park and come away with anything, you know, in the past. And this playing group we went there with high expectation that we were going to come away with something. So a little disappointed to have conceded a goal, which was a switch off moment, which is what we've had in the first 3 or 4 weeks. We didn't have it against Knights. We were quite good against Knights, and we actually took a big chunk of that game, and we were in control of it. But we just slipped up again for one moment last night in the Olympic game, and they got us with quite a soft goal. But, you know, we're going into these games now. That's the end of our run on the top 4 teams. We now get to play teams. I'm not saying they're going to be easier, but it's a different approach to them as well. And hopefully now we can get a few more wins and be in control of some games in our way, you know, rather than be controlled by the likes of Lions and stuff like that. So, you know, and they're always going to, Lions are unreal, mate, and Power are just a juggernaut. You know, they just get more players and they just roll along. And to be fair, the 2 games we played against Lions and against Power, it was our own fault for about 5 or 10 minutes is why they got the better of us. And that's what we've got to try and eliminate out of the game. But look, feeling really confident and love being there.
So looking at the top 4, we've got the usual suspects there: Olympic, Lions, Power and Knights.
Yeah.
Can you see anyone else breaking in?
It's hard to say, mate. I think this has probably been, you know, I've been around since NPL started. You know, I was in the junior side of it and then into the youth side of it and then into the men's. And it's definitely leveling itself out as far as the team, you know, quality goes. I just don't know. Like, look at Wanderers again. Wanderers are going all right. We've started to go all right now. It will very much come down to squad depths, I believe, you know, and I suffered that the last year at Capalaba. We didn't have squad depth. And when we had that period of time where we started getting injuries and that, we just had nothing. I think I played the last game against Gold Coast Knights down there, and there was, I think there was 7 under-18s and five of them I'd never met before. That was the game for us to try and start at Capalaba. So we've recruited this year at East to make sure that that's not the case. And we've got the under-23s are unreal. And we've got, you know, a good 16 or 17 first-team players. That's not even including the 23s. So we're more than comfortable depth-wise. We're more than comfortable depth-wise to know that we can compete. And we now have an expectation that we will be around there at the end of the year.
Just looking at the ladder, Moreton Bay United 1 point after 5 rounds so far. I must say I'm a little bit surprised with that. Liam, what do you think?
Moreton Bay, yes, but I think Brisbane City has another shock as well. I mean, they played 7 and they've only won 1.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, so yeah, Moreton Bay, but especially Moreton Bay United. I mean, City, they're on their way. You know, they were in the FQPL 1, and they've kind of got back up there, and they're kind of fighting back for their spot. But Moreton Bay United, you know, they've always been there or thereabouts over the last few seasons, and with only was it no wins from 5 games? Yeah. So yeah, that's a bit of a worry.
Yeah, wonderful. It's tough for them too because they haven't actually. I still don't think you should read anything into it. You know, anything can change. You know, those games have been fairly close, and they're a good football team, and Royce is a good coach. Yeah. Just sometimes, you know, you don't have the rub of the green, and the luck doesn't go your way, and you end up losing by 1 goal. And you know, I wouldn't read too much into that. As far as, you know, we've got to play them in a make-up game in a couple of weeks, and they'll be firing when we play them. So, yeah. But it is surprising because you would expect them to pick up 2 or 3 wins out of 7 at least, But that's this league, eh? The league is different.
It's true.
It's true.
They're playing your boys this weekend, Capalaba.
What's that, sorry?
They're playing your old boys this weekend, Capalaba.
Yeah, I might have a couple of beers and watch that one. Yeah, interesting. Is it at Capalaba or is it at Moreton Bay?
It's at Walter Park.
Oh, okay, yeah. Look, Walter Park is a little bit wider than what Capalaba have been playing on lately. So I believe they've taken about 8 metres off the width of their field. I'm not sure if that's helping them or what the strategy is quite clear that, don't want anyone to play with width. So look, out at Moreton Bay, it's quite wide. It's like a big square, isn't it? Let's see what happens there.
Say that again.
Yeah, so that
have narrowed their pitch.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so predominantly it was 68 metres wide, and it's now 60. So, which is about 3 metres outside the 18-yard box.
Fire does the same. They have a narrow field as well, and it does catch a lot of people out. I know that. Well,
it's easy to press on, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, you just got to change the way you play when you go to fields like that. I think if you go with the same strategy you have on a field that's, if you go to Gold Coast Knights, you can play with some width. Go to Power, you can play with width. But if you go to Capalaba, you have to do it faster for it to be successful. So if you can't do it faster, just go forward faster. It's that simple, isn't it?
Interesting. All right. So looking at the other fixtures, you've got a big game at Heath Park against the Sunny Coast Wanderers.
Yeah.
Keep in that top 4 hunt.
Yeah, that'll be a big battle because they're only just underneath us. We've got a game in hand, but never easy to play the Wanderers no matter where you go. Arnie's a great coach and he gets them fired up and they just don't give you any time or any room. And if there's a battle, 52% of the time they'll win that battle. So, I'm looking forward to that one too. Not great on Sundays, but this one's Saturday, isn't it?
Saturday night,
Saturday night, yeah. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good, mate. Yeah, it'll be good. I quite enjoyed the 3 o'clock game last weekend, actually. It's Knights. Love to see a bit more of that. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they? Good to
the atmosphere was unreal. There was plenty of people there. It was, you're done and dusted by 5 o'clock and, people can go out to dinner and all get to watch another game as well. So it's a great concept.
I think my match of the round is obviously going to be Olympic and Penn Power. Two top teams, but so it might be interesting to see how Penn Power play because they played City. Was it last night, Wednesday night?
Yeah, last night.
And they did City 5-0 with that. So, was it an easy 5-0 or I honestly don't know. But yeah, so they'll be a little bit. So again, talking about depth before, they'll be looking at probably maybe a small rotation of players there as well to try and get something out of that game against Olympic.
Yeah, and they have got a big squad. I'm quite good friends with Aaron and Ben.
Yeah.
They have got a big squad, and as I said, a couple of their players came to me this year from last year, and they just fill those spots and off they roll again. So, look, I'd be tipping Power to win that one. To be honest, I think Olympic are a fantastic side, probably one of the better footballing sides we've seen for years, but I just don't know if they're where they were a couple of years ago at the moment. So I'm going out to watch it anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we've kind of all said that over the last couple of years, with Olympic, and especially with when Tony certainly had his opinions on Olympic, Tony Gorkas, and but they've always managed to get something out by the business end of the season. They made the last 2 grand finals. I mean, they've lost 2 or 3 grand finals. Yeah, they've so they've always come good at the right end of the season, but they've certainly up the top. They certainly started it better than what they certainly have, especially last year, where they were like mid-table there at one stage.
Yeah, it's a scary thought, though, isn't it? Really, if they're not at their best and they're still at the top of the table, it's if they get it together, and there's no stopping them. So yeah, great game. Always a good game out there to watch Power and Olympic, especially at Olympic on a Sunday half. So yeah, I'll be going for sure.
Sounds good.
Let's turn our attention now to the NPLW or NPL Women's, I should say.
Yep.
Lions and QAS are the only 2 undefeated teams so far. QAS had a big come from a late winner against Moreton United. So well done to them so far.
Yeah, it's good.
Going to Goodwin Park to play Olympic this weekend. Lions taking on Eastern Suburbs. Booth, have you had anything to do with the women's team this year?
No, not really. I've just been talking with Tony. Tony Panetta, the coach, a bit, and he's quite good with them. We were training the night they played Power in the cup game there, and I think they only just missed out on that one. But again, the club backs the women's program, and Tony's a great coach, and they've got some good players. So I'll try and see as many games as I can this year. It's hard because we clash training nights, and it's look, I think at the start of the season we did a club launch as such with the new kit and the 100 years, and the girls team looks strong, and Tony's quite confident as well. So if they've got the same ideas that we have, I think they'll be there and about to the end of the year too.
Tigers always managed to put a decent squad together.
It's early to. I think.
All right, let's move now to the FQPL 1 and Redlands United top of the table. I think I was one that wrote them off and said they'd be a bit scratchy this year.
Oh dear!
Well, when they proved me wrong. Well done, Graham Harvey. Well done, Redlands United. Top of the table, 13 points. They are joint leaders with Strikers and the Thunder, who are also off to a great start.
Look.
Suburbs in fourth place at 11. Liam, this is your territory, mate. Talk us through it.
Yeah, Thunder. A couple of us at the start of the season were, had them, mid to bottom, around the bottom of the table. They'd be very happy. You got to be happy, haven't you? I mean, almost a new squad for these guys, and to be 2-0 down at halftime against a TK coach club, to suddenly come back and win at 4-2. But they got, I think it was the last 3 goals or something was in the last 10 minutes of that game up there at Toowoomba. So they had a massive win up there, and they would be ecstatic with that. Look, I said it last week. Cam Cristani is a big loss for Caboolture, they'll regroup. TK will get him shipped back. He'll get him back into shape again, and I don't think it's too much of a concern. I just think Thunder they earlier in the first game of the season, which was actually the second game of the season because of the flooding, they actually had a late winner against Pride as well. So I'm just wondering whether Thunder have just got a better mentality when it comes to closing games out. So is their fitness better?
We played.
Does the altitude help? I don't know.
We played them in pre-season up there. They were a hard team to play, especially up there. Yeah, very much so.
They are, and they always get a good crowd there as well. It's always on Toowoomba on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday night with the men. They always get a good crowd. It's hard work. Should be quite proud of what they do up there. Rochedale as well with a 4-3 win over Brisbane Strikers. That was another cracking match. That one. So good result for Rovers there. Magpies again, 2-1 over Southside Eagles. They're managing to get those wins away from home. So they've got to be proud with what they've achieved, especially with the new coach as well, and all the travel that they do. What else did I have here? Redlands 4-0 over Knights. Look, Knights, they're just on the cusp of just getting this team to run right. I think I read in the local media here in Ipswich that I think Oggy had a few players out, I think with injuries or something. So they weren't playing with their full strength team either. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I mean, Oggy has. Thing is with this competition is that you've got from 6th to 11th is only separated by 2 points. So it's so up and down. So for those clubs over the next few weeks, wins are going to be critically important, which they always are, but they're going to be really important if you want to start making a gap there. So I know that closing it out with the Pride and Mitchelton game. I went to that game as I always try and do with my Pride boys, but that was a pretty physical match. That one, there was a red card for the first 10 minutes to both sides. There was a bit of a set to there with jumper pulling and a bit of a fracas. So both teams lost a player there in the first 10 minutes, but bit of a controversial red card in the last 10 or 15 minutes in the second half with Mitchie losing their captain for a red card as well. So that was, when you look back on the replay, probably wasn't a red. But anyway, but my match of the round, it has to be Strikers versus Redlands.
Who do you fancy?
Redlands. Fancy Redlands.
Where's it at?
Boothie? Do you take much of an interest in this comp?
Yeah, I have. I've got a couple of boys that played at Calabar with me down there. Liam and Sam Langley are down there. Tough one. We played Strikers pre-season too. They were a hard work. We didn't play Redlands, but I've watched a couple of Redlands games because I go down. I'm just around the corner. Yeah, I don't know. Where's it at? Is that Perry Park?
It's at Perry Park.
Perry Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might even tip Redlands on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're on a bit of a roll at the moment. I think the Strikers have had a few shock results. I think over the last few rounds. So maybe. I mean, I think did Tony tip them to go all the way? Did he without dropping points like City did? I don't know.
I don't think he went that far.
Okay.
All right. I don't think he went that far. All right, let's have a look at the FQPL women's. Peninsula Power, we had Alex Smith on the show last week, and they've continued on their undefeated ways.
Yep.
Top of the table on 12 points. Brisbane City, Western Pride, and Mitchelton making up the top four. Looking at fixtures this weekend, Western Pride taking on Logan. What do you want to say about that one, Liam?
That'll be another tough match. I think Pride will be trying to find some consistency at the moment. They've had a couple of wins, couple of losses, so I think they'll be trying to get a bit of revenge too for their Kappa Cup knockout by Logan. So I'll tip Pride with that. Tipping Power over Mitchie. Although Mitchie had a pretty good result on the weekend. They had a pretty high scoring win, I think. Gap though, there's still a worry. But if Gap are going to get any points, they're going to get something out of the first few rounds of this season. They're going to have to try against Virginia. That's probably really their only hope at the moment. But I don't see the Gap staying up, to be honest. They've just shown nothing with respect to the girls there in the club. It's a bit of a disappointment how they've kind of dropped down the way that they have over the years. But that's football. You just get one or two players in or out, and it can affect the squad. But wish them all the luck though, because they're a proud club and they've got proud people working there. So wish them all the best. But look, Virginia, I think over the Gap. Thunder City will beat Thunder. But I think match the round. For me, I think I had Logan and Pride, because the other ones are kind of a bit of a mismatch, I think. So Logan and Western Pride are probably the two closest clubs at the moment.
Let's have a look at now at the FQPL2 men's. There are two teams at the top of the ladder undefeated: Surfers Paradise Apollo and Albany Creek Excelsior.
Yep.
Then there is daylight. We're talking 9 points at this stage of the season.
Yeah.
The Magic United and Holland Park. That's crazy at this time of the season.
Yeah, like 6 rounds in, and there's both the two top teams have pulled away to 18 points each. The Apollo, I mean, they're just they've got plans. You know how we had Caboolture last season. They were on a mission to get up to the FQPL2, to FQPL1. They're on a mission. They had the right people to do it, the right staff to do it, and the right players to do it, and they had the right mentality, and they got there. Apollo, I think, have got that same ambition, and I think Apollo will get up there. Is it 2 up? So Ace and Apollo could probably both go up. I think they're the two standouts at the moment for sure.
Yeah, interesting that they were both promoted into the competition from last year as well.
Yeah,
and they've dominated so far.
Be interesting though, because if Moreton Bay come down and Ace go up, what happens there? Shared facility, shared clubhouse, shared. Yeah.
What about if Moreton Bay? What about if Moreton Bay stay up and Ace go up?
Well, yeah.
What about if Moreton Bay stay up and Ace go up? Yeah, that's even worse, isn't it? My phone could cut out here too, lads. Sorry, I'm just about run out of battery.
Okay, well, we'll just get your take on this competition then. I'm sure you're interested in it as well.
Yeah. So for this league, Service Paradise Apollo, look, they're a fantastic football side. Alex is a great coach as well. I was a bit shocked at their cup game against Power, to be honest, but I think they tried something that didn't work and they got caught before they knew it. They were 5 goals down. So, look, I'd be tipping them. I'd be tipping them to win the league personally. With Ace, a very close second. I don't think anyone else is in it.
Surfers Paradise taking on North Star this weekend, and Sanford Rangers taking on Albany Creek. That's a bit of a local derby. It should be a good game.
Yeah. I got match of the round as being Wolves and Virginia. I think that'll be good. I think that'll be a good game.
All right. Let's have a look now at the FQPL 3, the Metro North and South competition. St. George Willawong, top of the league on 13 points with the Lakes on 12, and Toowong getting off to a great start on 10. Pine Hills taking up the top 4 positions. Looking at fixtures this weekend, Pine Hills taking on Bayside, the Lakes against Acacia Ridge, and who have St. George got? They've got Western Spirit. So I would expect the top teams to continue on their winning ways. Toowong taking on Merrickavett as well. David, does your scanning go this far down the ladder?
Yeah, St. George as well. Yeah, we played them pre-season. I know Hanno from Capalaba and from around the traps. Look, they've probably done a little bit better than they thought they were going to do, to be fair, because they lost a lot of players last year. I don't know where they're sitting on how far away they are points-wise on the ladder.
But 1 point ahead.
1 point ahead. Okay. Look, I think if they can keep everyone on the park, they'll just keep rolling along. He's got good support out there with the club and Zach, the president. So, just keep winning games, mate. I think the 23s are all right too. I'm not quite sure, but old coach Vaz is out there as well, Rono. So I'd tip if they can just keep people on the park, they'll just keep chugging away. They might just get there in the end, but they're doing all right.
Given that you know Hanno from your time at Capalaba, him making that switch to the men's competition, if he's gone from elite women's to elite men's, was there much that needed to change mindset wise for that, do you think?
Well, I think he was just himself wanted to give it a go. He was, even when I spoke to him out there, he knew that he had to change some things in the way he did it to deal with men's football, I suppose, and probably just the way you approach things and approach people. But he seems to have done all right. They seem to listen to him when I was out there, and they were quite organised. I haven't watched too many of their games, but I've seen some of their results. But for him personally, it's a great step. If he's been in women's football for a while and he wants to get into men's, then he's gone in, he's winning some games, and he's got good support from the club. So, and that's the big thing. You need the support from the club, or else you can get yourself in strife.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to get him on the show in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's take a look at FQPL 3 South Coast. So that's the former Gold Coast Premier League competition. Rabina are top of the league on 13 points with Palm Beach, Broadbeach and Southport making up the top 4. We've got Lee Vernon, coach at Rabina, on the show next week. Having a look at this weekend's fixtures. And Rabina taking on Southport. That should be a beauty. Palm Beach have got Talabudra, who were promoted this season. And any other beauties? Nerang up against Runaway Bay. That should be a good one too. I'm guessing, David, that your sites don't go that far, do they?
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm out. Sorry about that.
And of course, the Sunshine Coast Premier League commenced last weekend as well. Maroochydore, BGs and Mumbai were the 3 teams that had a win, with Nambour and Coolum drawing.
Oh, wow.
Looking at fixtures this weekend, NYU up against Maroochydore. That should be an absolute cracker.
Oh, Jesus, almost worth the drive, isn't it?
Yeah. The Reds are hosting that game. So, yes, anyone in the Sunshine Coast area, get yourself to that game.
There'll be a bit of a feel. There'll be a bit of feeling in that game, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, the Nambour last season's premiers taking on the challengers this year in Maroochydore, who everyone's tipped to win the league. So, it should be a great tussle. All right, guys. Now that's all the leagues that I'm happy to look at this week. I know that there's still another 10 leagues that we could have gone through, but it's just too much.
Too much.
But I will mention that we will be going through other leagues in future weeks. It's just all depends on our guests and however we feel at the time, really. So, Boothie, have you set yourself a target for this year? Is top four something that you're setting your sights on?
Yeah, absolutely. Top four. Look, coming in, same as I did at Capella Bar. Once it became promotion relegation, we were going for top two, and we had to recruit to suit that, and within that league and within the budget that we had, we've brought in 9 players. Some of them unknown, some of them haven't played for a couple of years, and it took them a while to get going, but we definitely have a focus of being in the top four. It'd be wrong to think that we couldn't be there either. And showing the last couple of results, we can see that we can compete with those teams quite easily. So, as I said, depth will play a big part in how everyone survives at the end of the day. I don't think COVID will affect it.
Sorry, was that an issue getting those guys in? Because I know that East are a club that are particularly strong in promoting from within.
Yeah, it wasn't actually, because I think because East is so geographically set in the right place, most people are at uni or at work close to the city, and they actually retained 18 of their 23s as we got there. So we had something like 76 people apply to come and trial for the 23s, and we already had 18. So then I had to then recruit what I had to. So we've virtually got the 23s are a squad of their own. And to be fair, if we weren't going for top four, probably 5 or 6 of them would be in the first team anyway. So it wasn't hard to get them there. No, it was probably harder to get one player there that took a bit of persuading, but other than that, it was easy to talk to a few people.
We'll talk about that after.
Yeah. But it was hard, like some players are comfortable at clubs, and if you want to be a top four team, you've got to go into those clubs and you've got to talk to those players, the ones that aren't happy, the ones that are happy. And, sometimes you can't just recruit within to get yourself in that position. You have to build a squad to get yourself there. And if they're there for years, then you build from within and bring them into that squad, and the standard becomes high. But we had to change that team to make sure that we could be around the top four, or aim for the top four anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's round out the show with just one more topic. Lliam, we saw the announcement today that Aston Villa and Leeds United are coming to Brisbane, playing the Roar at Suncorp Stadium. What are your thoughts, mate?
When I've been on the Raw, the Brisbane Football Review Boys podcast, I made my thoughts known about the Queensland government in relation to the way that they don't seem to show any support or any sort of love for football in Queensland. Now there are clubs that of course get some grants and stuff, and fully applaud that, but when just on social media, like the Premier's on there, Sterling Hinchcliffe is on there. I think he's the sports minister. Stephen Miles. They're the people that basically run the state, and they don't give. As soon as you get these big English clubs coming in, all of a sudden, they're all over social media saying this is happening, and you got Queensland, the Live in Queensland slogan, Tourism Queensland slogan all over everything, and I think if they showed that amount of love and tried to put some of that money back into the grassroots football, I think we'd be many of the clubs and the game itself would be in a much better position than what it is. So, like, I wasn't surprised by that today. I was, of course, I was disappointed. I'm pretty vocal, especially on Twitter, with government decisions about football. We've got nothing to show for after the Olympics. Like, there's no legacy stadium, there's no legacy for football. Again, the Gabba's being rebuilt, and the Gabba was rebuilt again for the Sydney Olympics football, and AFL and cricket got something out of it. So they're going to rebuild the stadium again for football and etc., but nothing for the game itself. You got Women's World Cup next year, nothing for women facilities or women's game. I could just go on, and it's just really, really disappointing to see them carrying on the way that they are, when it comes to the game, when we deserve so much more. again, how much does Football Queensland have their input? How much do they say to the government? But hey, give us, a fair chance. I don't know how much goes on behind the scenes. They probably try as much as they can. They probably don't try. I don't know. But just really annoys me, And I've got nothing against people that want to go see Villa or want to go see Leeds or whoever. If that's probably your once in a lifetime opportunity to see your club, your European club, run around the field, I've got nothing against that. I've got nothing against them coming out. It's just we get nothing back for it. You got Argentina coming out, you got Brazil coming out, Man U. Brazil, was it Brazil? Yeah, I think Brazil are coming out as well. If I haven't already said that a million times, but again, all these big European clubs, you got the big South American clubs coming out, and what do we get for it? What does the grassroots game get out of it? Is there a big donation from Argentina or Brazil to say thank you? Here's some love, here's some money, or the state governments just take all the money in.
Do you have an opinion on this? And have you bought your tickets for the Man United game in Melbourne yet?
Yeah, I have. I'm definitely going to Man United.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm guilty of going to Liverpool games, but like I said, it's about the day out with your mates. Because you've all got supporters that you're all friends with. It's about the travel. It's about seeing people running around on the pitch with your beloved jersey on. So I got nothing against that. It's just
I hear what you're saying. You've got to capitalise on it and get something out of it to build on our game in this country. And we don't know if that happens or not. All we see is what's on social media. So you'd like to think there'd be something in it for us, but at the moment, with the Australian team possibly not going to make the World Cup, we need to promote it as much as we can, don't we?
Yeah, that's that's the other thing too. Was it the Socceroos never got we haven't had a World Cup qualifier up here. For 6-7 years.
Yeah, right.
We've had a couple of friendlies, and of course we had the Asian Cup, but the Asian Cup was Australia wide and it wasn't really run by the government. I mean, that really had nothing to do with it. But for the actual government to actually say to Football Australia to say, here's some money, bring the Socceroos to us, we want to World Cup qualify. It's the biggest game in Asia, and there's so much potential to be unlocked with Asian money coming into the country, and they just completely ignore it. And it's irritating. Anyway, I'll get a soapbox now. I'm taking up too much of your time, but you get my point.
Ruthie, do you have anything more to add to that?
No, mate. I said when it comes to the country, I suppose, as long as we get something out of it, fans get to see their teams and their favourite players, I suppose. As long as the government's smart about how it works and it doesn't cost us money and it promotes our game in Australia, well, I'm happy with it. If they come in here and they're taking money out and taking players out and the game doesn't benefit from it, well, I wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, as long as they're inspiring kids to play football rather than playing the other codes, that'll do me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, David, thank you so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Best of luck for the rest of the season. Hope it all goes well.
Yep. Cheers. Hopefully we'll talking about top 4 at the end of the season, hopefully.
And well done on the club for getting back on its feet so well and with great, energy to get things back up and running again. So good for them.
Yeah, I'll pass it on, mate. Yeah, there's plenty of support from some good people. So excellent. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. All right. This has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. Got a little surprise for you next week. Have you ever seen that show Drunk History? You might have a drunk host hosting the show. Just for a little bit of fun, see how it goes. All right, guys.
See you later.